Ah, been seeing. You tracked me down even here. Very nice. You see everybody's sweating. This is the time of the year. Baruch Hashem, people are busy finding lulav, esrig, the best in the shens, the building of sukkah, all that. Chazal tell us that Rishon L'Cheshbon Avonos only starts on Sukkot, because these 4 days between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, there's no time to sin. There's no time to sin because we're so far numen. It's a phenomenal lesson. And when does Rahman al-Litzan Cheshbon Avonos start? When you actually do the mitzvah. And when Sukkot starts, that's when it's the Rish. That means the Hechsher mitzvah, the Achana mitzvah, to get being involved, engrossed in time, in figuring out how you're going to make sure you have the nicest lulav and esrog, how you're going to make sure that your sukkah is kedosh gedin. That's even greater than the actual doing of the mitzvah. And some actually gave a hesber, just as we see in the flip side, that Hirhudei Avera is Kashamei Avera. So the same over here, the Hechsher mitzvah during that time, during these 4 days, you have less time and motivation or interest in the Avera, even more than when Sukkah starts. There's a phenomenal var from the Chidush Rim. The Chidush Rim says, why does the mitzvah of Sukkah come right after the mitzvah of Yom Kippur? Because by the mitzvah of Sukkah it says, L'man yedu dereseichem, that you should realize what it means, what is the essence of sitting in the Sukkah, and you need das. So because you need das for that, it couldn't be any other time of the year. It had to be right after Yom Kippur, when Yom Kippur, the Eibishter forgives us, and we're a clean slate. Then you can have das, l'man yedu dereseichem. Any other time of the year, Rachman al-Litzan, when we stumble, there is the ruach shtus that makes a person do mischiefs. So therefore, the proper das, l'man yedu dereseichem, wouldn't happen. That's why it has to be adjacent to Yom Kippur. We all know what Sukkot is all about. Sukkot is 3 things: the mitzvah of Sukkah, the mitzvah of the Daled Minim, and it's from all the Yom Tovim. Zman Simchthienu is specifically Sukkot. And the question is, why out of all Yom Tovim, Simcha is more by Sukkot more than any other Yom Tov? And the question could be doubled. When here I'm sitting in a Sukkah and it has the Ushpizin, the welcoming the Ushpizin. Why from all the Yom Tovim, why do we welcome the Ushpizin, Dafka and Sukkot, not by Pesach or Shavuos, Matan Torah? Why is the Simcha and the Ushpizin more welcome on Sukkot than any other Yom Tov? And the answer is, perhaps the most permanent or the most deepest Simcha a person could have is when he realizes that he's totally in the Eibishter's hands. When a person has his hang-ups, or a person is convinced that then he has his ups and downs. Sometimes life is good, sometimes Rahman al-Litzan, as they say, the world sends a curveball, and things don't go so well, and you have pachad. When a person realizes you're totally in the hands of Hashem, gam ki elach b'geitz ha'mavis lo irera ki ate imadi. So when we have that realization, then it's the biggest simcha. And this is taka why it specifically happens in sukkahs. Sukkahs, you sit out here in the tail of the sukkah, and you realize that everything that in Olam Hazeh, everything is temporary, and you're totally and you come to this commitment, you come to this realization that it's all Hashem. When you realize that, then it's no better time to arouse simcha, and that's the best time when you have the true simcha to invite this special guest. Now we know that the Daled Minim, everybody knows it represents different levels and Yidden, different sorts of people. I'll tell you 2 more things that the Daled Minim represent that perhaps are not so famous. The Daled Minim, the Daled Minim represent. We know that everything in this world is made up from 4 Yesodos, as the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya right in the beginning: Eish, Ruach, Mayim, and Afar. So the Daled Minim, the Hadassim, are cold and dry. That represents the Afar. The Arava is cold and moist, as it comes from the Arvei Nachal. That represents the Teva of Mayim. The Esrig is warm and moist. That represents the Ruach. And the Lulav, which is hot and dry, represents the Eish. And we're basically taking all these 4 things and we bind them together and say, all this is connected, and the Eibishter is the one that creates it, and the Eibishter is the one that gives us chayas. We also find that another thing that we do throughout the Yom Tov of Tishrei is we acknowledge that all senses that a person has comes from the Eibishter. In Rosh Hashanah, we had the sense of shmiya, of hearing. Why? By the mitzvah of Tekiyah Shofar. On Erev Yom Kippur, when there's a mitzvah to eat, we have the sense of taste. On the Daled Minim, we say Ulakachtem Lachem B'Yom Rishon, and pre-Eitz Hadar. You have to make sure to look and see that it's a Hadar. That's the sense of seeing, of eyes. And then there is the sense of tapping, the sense of touching, was Ulakachtem Lachem. Again, we're identifying that all senses that a human was created with, besides for the sense of smell. And I'll tell you this answer. I'm going to leave you with two questions I want you to figure out. Why is the sense of smell omitted and not mentioned as a as we are binding it, dedicating it to Hashem? Because the sense of smell is the only sense that was never created a sin. As we see by Chava, all other senses and Adam and Chava sinned with. The sense of smell never committed a sin, and therefore we don't have to show a new dedication. But all other senses, we bind them. Throughout this month we do a mitzvah with it, and we say, Mil Hashem Alai, this is all dedicated to the Eibishter. Now it's very important to note that when it comes to the mitzvah of Sukkah, and it comes to the mitzvah, we all know the story of Baal Shem Tov. He would put together a sukkah with all the haterim to show that every type of sukkah, every type of yid could sit here. However, when it comes to the Dalet Minim, people are spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get the most beautiful one with a magnifying glass. Why? So because of the Priyatz Hadar. But there's one word that a person, when you learn the pasuk, you should notice it. And the pasuk makes a difference. It says, "Ulakachtem lochem." By the mitzvah of the Dalet Minim is what you should do for yourself. The sukkah is surrounding. The sukkah is the Klal Yisrael. Everybody comes together. Everybody is kosher. When you want to fix yourself. Okay, lachem, pre-Eitz Hadar. Make sure that everything is picture perfect. But when it comes to Klal Yisrael, every type of Jew is good. So now comes two questions I want to leave you with. Number one, why is it taka that the mitzvah of the Dalet Minim, it has to be lachem, and therefore there's the whole question, how do you deal with letting somebody else use your lulav and esrog the first day of Sukkot? Why is it specifically more by the mitzvah of Dalet Minim, which we don't even find that dagesh by the mitzvah of Sukkah? Why the mitzvah of Sukkah doesn't make such a big emphasis that it should be lachem? Why by the Dalet Minim there is? And number two, another thing about the Dalet Minim, we all know what the famous pirush is, that the four minim represents four different parts of the body: the heart, the ears, the eyes. The hadassim are shaped like the eyes. So the question is, if the hadassim are shaped like the eyes, we only have two eyes. Why do we have three hadassim? So I leave you with two questions, and I'll let the tape roll. Everybody, lahadol Torah ladira, send them some answers so we could share with the group next week. Everybody should have a good Yom Tov, a zman simchasenu, and a good Shabbos.